day, that hustle.
Hustle House Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to Hustle House Podcast. Today, we have another successful entrepreneur in our area running his own business. He's a family man, and we really want to get him on this show. And the reason why, I think he's going to provide a lot of value for everybody that's going to be tuning in.
All right, Jonathan, so let's start off by telling the people who you are and what you do.
As stated, I'm Jonathan Araya. I own Chaparral Pavers and the Cozy Patio. Chaparral Pavers is a high-end luxury install, design, build, and furnish company for your outdoors. So outdoor patios, kitchens, spaces is what we like to call them. And then Cozy Patio is furniture, outdoor high-end furniture that is geared toward any lifestyle, really. If you have kids, or if you're looking for something that's heirloom quality, that's basically where we function best.
And how long have you been a business owner?
Cozy Patio's first location came about 4 years ago, and second location in downtown SLO now is about 6 months in. Chaparral Pavers is about 23 years in the making. I bought into that company as a partner. So, yeah.
Okay.
Dang, so what made you even get into those specific businesses?
That's a great question. So, before I even got into those, I was actually going to school for psychology. And I was a psych major, and that's what I wanted to do, specifically child psychology. And as I was going to school, there was less and less I wanted to do in that field. The more I fell in love with more of the outdoors. I fell in love with the sales process of things. I've always been selling, whether it was cars, insurance, cell phones, furniture. I've sold all my life. So I really like the encounter between people. So I think mixing the psychology factor and bringing that in with, the sales factor, I fell in love with it. So I ended up working at a store on Craigslist. There was an ad for a company, a supply house, and I ended up signing up for it or whatever. Passed the interview. I was having my second child at that point, so Liam was in the conception at that point. So I needed a job while I went to school. Got hired. 2 years into that job, they offered me management position for the store, and then after that, a couple more years, they wanted me to be an area or territory sales manager. I didn't want to move. The pay was kind of maxed out, if you would. So I decided to go and venture off into the entrepreneurial realm of things. And that's how I ended up in kind of that industry of all industries,
How old were you when you made that transition from employee to entrepreneur?
So I learned a lot during the management phase of things. And I want to say that was like 21 or 22.
Okay, so pretty
I
young.
didn't go into the entrepreneurial phase of things until I was like 27, 28. And then I made the decision to do it. And again, I was scared because I had just purchased my first home. So I purchased that first home and I didn't want to leave my job because it kind of anchored me to that. But then I had an opportunity with a business partner that was willing to help me grow and help me learn and keep the same salary pay. So it was kind of, I didn't have to start over, if you know what I mean, going down from zero pay and then building from there, which was the nice part because strategically I didn't want to have to start over or potentially lose my house or whatever. So the risk factor was a lot lower.
That's the toughest thing about becoming an entrepreneur is when you first start a business, as a business owner, the first year you may not make income. Or
Exactly.
hardly any income at all. So that's great that you actually had something coming in.
Exactly.
When you got started.
The crazy thing is you got a lot of things going on because you have 2 different locations for the Cozy Patio.
Yeah.
And in your third business. And just recently, you just got your first rental and Eddie helped you out and everything else.
Yeah.
How do you handle all that stress, man? Because it seems like you got a lot going on, and I know you have kids.
Yeah.
And then you work out. How do you how do you do that? How do you handle all that stuff?
Yeah, that's interesting because I was just taking inventory the other day of how the heck do I do it? And, single dad, 50% custody. Kids are with me sometimes more than 50% of the time. And then the businesses, I am still a working member of the businesses, kind of trying to strategize and systemize, and then also taking on this business venture, for the income property. It's been hard. It's been hard. And honestly, a lot of prayer, because otherwise it was drinking. And, I've never been a huge drinker, but I think for me, it's prayer and working out, going to the gym and hitting heavy sets, just going in, balls to the wall for 45 minutes to an hour. And I feel the difference. Recently, it's been tennis too. It's just, I'm looking for healthy outlets constantly. It's just constantly looking for healthy outlets. Travel every 3 months. I like to clear my mind and just get out of town. I also try to regulate being on my cell phone, social media, things of that nature, because otherwise, man, honestly, it feels overwhelming at times. Honestly, at times it feels like I can't even handle it.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much.
What's like your strategy? Like, how do you go about, like, okay, so you, like, for example, it's October now, right?
Sure.
Like, how do you strategize? Like, what do you typically do so that way you're like, all right, I'm gonna do this, do that. Like, what's your typical way of strategizing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think being able to rely on your people too. For me, I have some key employees, a partner. He's key in all of this as well. Setting the tone for my kids too in my home, is just saying what the expectation is, in a loving way too, and just stating, hey, this is how it's going to be, because otherwise it's just too stressful. So I would say planning as much as you can is what I try to do, and foresee. I think it's like a chess game. I'm trying to foresee what is going to happen, what's coming around the corner. And it's interesting because recently, a week and a half ago, truck goes out, loan might not get funded, dealing with some stuff with the kids, and on top of that I was sick. So it's kind of crazy. You're just trying to plan, and then if you know that's coming, it's time to strategize how to get past that immediately. It's not avoiding the dark areas, it's getting past those dark areas as quickly as you can and as calm as you can, controlling those emotions. So.
Yeah, seriously.
So you've been in business for quite a while now. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned in business?
Oh man, I would say if you're looking at it as a boxing match, learn to dodge and learn to take a hit, because you could dodge, but I guarantee you're gonna get hit. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's taking the emotion out of it, because it's not a matter of if you're gonna get hit, it's when you're gonna get hit with something and how quickly you can jump back on your feet. How quickly you can move with the punches, essentially. There's so many sayings and quotes that are motivational, but I mean, there's a reason for that. And I think for me I'm so passionate about everything I take on that when something doesn't hit, it hits me hard emotionally. And for me, knowing that is understanding my emotions and controlling my emotions and saying, okay, look, you're going to get past this, dude. Everything's going to be fine. This will work out and you'll move forward through this. I also think a vital role in that is the people you surround yourself with, the people that are around you that you can kind of talk to and listen to, and you're gonna feed off their energy essentially. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so now you're transitioning from business owner and into an investor. So what made you want to get into investing in real estate?
A lot of it was passive income to an extent. Uh-huh. There's no way. I know what it takes to work and make a dollar. Right. In business, it can become passive income, but there's a lot of work, a lot of structure and systems that need to get put into place and people that need to get put into place. With real estate investing, I felt more like the money moves and occasionally you're accounting for what is to come with that. You're kind of finding the people, but once that's systemized, it's a lot less than running a business, because business, there's so many moving parts as opposed to a real estate transaction. So that's what made me want to get into it. And then also the future. Yeah. Let's face it, we all want freedom. We all want to be free from time constraints of our lives or whatever, and be able to have, there's a goal for me. I want to be able to have my mom not worry about where she's going to live. Be able to provide a home for her and just be like, that's all good. I got you, Yeah. And I think this is the only thing that can really get you that. Because once you have a set standard for what the rent is going to be and what you're going to be making What is your cash flow? I mean, it stays pretty steady. Everybody
Right.
needs a place to live.
Yep. And then also you get the tax benefits too for your business, right?
And that I
You
need.
get the write-off,
Yeah.
right?
That's a good write-off
That I
for you,
need.
bro.
I need write-offs too.
How was your experience working with Eddie? Because for me,
So
it's been super easy. Well, I wouldn't say super easy, but a lot less stressful because I don't really need to like know what I'm doing essentially. I just ask him for advice. Hey, what do you think of this property? Blah blah. And he's guided me in the last 2 years. How's it been working with him?
So with Eddie, it was interesting because he came from a recommendation from a buddy, another buddy that owns a business, actually, and you know he also recommended mortgage broker as well. So with Eddie, you know, you meet him, clean cut, good looking guy. You expect business to run the same way, right?
Yeah.
We can't help but judge people based off of their appearance.
It's true.
So I had worked with other real estate agents before for the purchase of my first home and then this home. So I've dealt with transactions before. Where I think Eddie specialized and what I like most about Eddie is the expertise on an investment level. A lot of these agents want to sell you a house that you're going to live in. A lot of the agents want to sell you, you know, a house that you're going to make memories and all these other things. But when it comes to buying an investment home, I need somebody who's been in the front seat and has their own investments. And with Eddie, it felt like that. Not only did he guide me through kind of the purchase of the real estate transaction, he worked with the lender very well. On top of that, I think this is kind of the biggest thing with Eddie was the value that he brings as an investor is I could call Eddie and be like, hey, I'm at Lowe's. I need a refrigerator. What refrigerator? Something as small as that.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I wouldn't do that refrigerator. You know, this is the price point you want to be in. This is the brand you want to. I think an all-access guide to purchasing your first investment home and kind of building on that. And that's the value that Eddie brings is he didn't just stop at selling the home. He's sending me contacts for people, sending me contacts for potential renters. I mean, it's the full transaction, and I don't think you're going to get that with any other real estate agent. So
I don't think you would, you know, because
Yeah.
in our area, everyone just sells houses, which there's no wrong with being just a realtor and selling houses. But there are people out there like myself, Jonathan, Joe, that wants to own real estate and rent it out, right? And make it an investment property. You need a guy like him. Let's just call it what it is, right? It's going to be very, like you're mentioning, it would be way different if it was a normal realtor. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with being a normal realtor, but it does give you a competitive edge when you know how to invest in real estate because you can guide people like us.
Absolutely. I didn't know what to expect. You know, I manage projects and I evaluate and weigh options for what's most profitable and what's going to look good, what's going to feel good for clients all day long. But I think for me, having Eddie in my corner in that sense made it a lot easier for me to make decisions on, okay, all right. Because I'll tell you right now, I was ready to jump ship on trying to get this first purchase freaking 6 times.
I know, you called me a bunch of times,
Yeah,
bro.
I did. And why? Because there's value in speaking to somebody who's been there and done that because they talk you down the ledge. And we're talking money. We're talking thousands of dollars going out there, and I don't want to make mistakes. I want to save thousands, and I want to put this out there, especially if you're funding it on your own. You know what I mean? So for me, that was the value is the, no, you know, you're good. You're going to fund. You're good. You're going to get through that. And here we are collecting keys. So there we go.
Congrats,
Cheers to
brother.
collecting
Congrats.
keys.
Yeah, shit up. Cheers, man. Yeah.
Cheers.
Damn, out of whiskey, but.
So, Jonathan, the property that you just got, I think it's 2 units, right? You got to do the renovation and all that good stuff. And then you're going to put an ADU in the back as well, right? That's the plan for the property. So it's going to be 3 units?
Correct. So when it's all said and done, there should be 3. Right now, it is a 4-bedroom, 2,000 square foot home, 7,000 or 8,000 square foot lot, detached garage. That I do plan on doing like a 450 square foot 2-bedroom ADU on the property. Yeah.
No, that's solid. I just went to Eddie's, one of his property on Cook, and the house, the first house that he got, and it sits on a really big lot. And
Is it on a corner lot? Is it on a corner lot?
Kind of, yeah.
Kinda.
So there's Superior, which is like a one-way road,
Sure.
which is like right in between it, and then on the other side there's new apartment buildings.
Okay.
And
Is
then
it on the
right
west side?
Yeah, it's on the west side.
It's like by
I drove
Cooligan
by it the
Waters.
other- Yep, I
Yeah.
drove by it the
Cooligan
other
Waters.
day.
They're
Okay.
It's
building
like
on-
2 units being built, right? There's a
Yeah.
house and then there's like another smaller unit being built, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats on
Yeah,
that.
thank you,
Cheers to
brother.
that.
Seriously, right?
Appreciate it.
There you go,
Appreciate it.
man.
Yeah. So, do you think you've probably done the math, right? So, cash flow wise, pretty good, I'm assuming.
Without going too much in depth with what I think the cash flow is going to be, I absolutely think that it'll be worthwhile. I think that the cash flow now will mediate the ROI within the next 3 years or so. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
So
That's before the junior ADU.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
before you build the ADU. Yeah.
Correct.
So what's your ultimately in real estate? What's your ultimate goal? Like, what are you hoping to achieve being a real estate investor?
So I was just talking to somebody today, and they were talking about their friend's dad, whom I know, and saying that he's cash flowing 60 grand a month on rentals on his units here locally.
Okay.
And he's bought about 110 acres or something in Orchid, and he's going to be developing a bunch of homes there too. That's also not stating, flips. So for me, I would say that's my goal, to be that guy in 10 years. And then
Yeah,
get
that's
there
that guy
quickly.
right there.
And then get there quickly.
That's straight
Get
up,
there
bro.
quickly.
That's
You
the
know what I
goal.
mean? To get
Yeah.
there quickly. So yeah, that's the goal. It's
Yeah.
simple. It's straight cut. I know it's going to be hard, ups and downs, but multiple properties, multiple flips, and eventually, start
Yeah.
building my own, own homes on the land. Become a developer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
solid.
it starts with the first ADU. I mean, technically, that's
Exactly.
developing.
Yeah.
You're a
Exactly.
developer at that point. That's what I've
Exactly.
come to realize too, and
Yeah.
adding that value, because what it
Yeah.
costs to build compared to what it's worth after is you're getting a
100%.
lot more value as far as what it appraises for.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine, building 100 homes or apartment buildings, the type of equity that you can build.
60
you know?
grand
So-
a month though in
60
rentals,
grand
bro.
a month.
Imagine
That's
that.
crazy.
That's crazy.
It's life
For good.
changing. I think the biggest thing that I've kind of gathered from talking to you guys is cash flow. Cash flow is king. Like, who cares what the interest rate is? Who
Right.
cares what the monthly payment is? Who cares whatever goes on and on and on the list. Everybody has an excuse for not getting into the real estate game right now.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing that I heard from you guys and seen you kind of live out is cash flow.
We got that
Cash
from
flow
Grant,
king.
actually, from Grant
Yeah.
Cardone, because he talks about that all the time, and he's always mentioning like how it could be a really good market, it could be a really bad market,
Yeah.
right? You could have X amount of equity, or you could be underwater on the mortgage where you owe a lot more than what it's actually worth. But he's like, but neither of those two matter so long as the cash flow's there. The debt doesn't matter. So like, I think that's the biggest philosophy that that we got from him,
Yeah.
and we've been implementing, and that's why we mentioned it to you, because like you mentioned earlier, it's stressful, like you're fearful, like because you're getting into $500,000 per house
Exactly.
in debt. So it's like, dude, I'm responsible for that debt. If something
Yeah.
were to happen,
Exactly.
like that's a
And
pretty
that's the
big
thing.
debt.
You can't think about that. Because as soon as you start thinking about that, you psych yourself out.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, if I start thinking about that, dude, I need to go to the gym, I need to take a drink, I need to do, because I start thinking, oh my gosh, I gotta pay this back.
Yeah.
And you're actually the one that found that property for me, the one that I got actually. We were going, I think it happened right before we went to go eat that
Go
night.
eat?
Yeah, Gogi.
Yeah.
I think I was like just scrolling through, and
Yeah.
I sent you a picture. I was like, hey, hit up Eddie
Yeah.
for this one, because this is probably going
You
to be a
sent
good
me
one.
that, yeah.
I just like to look at Realtor every single day, like Realtor.com
Oh, yeah,
and
me
like
too.
MLS. Just
I'm on there all the time, bro.
it's not like I'm buying a house at this very moment, but
But
today I was
hey, if
looking.
you find a deal,
Exactly.
you find a deal, and you're gonna do whatever it takes to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's,
Another thing-
that's what I found out.
Yeah.
Like, I always look for deals,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
if I don't got the money necessarily right now, because I got so many projects going on.
You do.
Because
Yeah.
if I find a great deal, I can do something with it.
Exactly.
I mean, partner with somebody, or who cares? Get it under contract and sell it to somebody else.
Yeah, the money will
The
come.
money will come.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But finding the deal, I think, is the biggest difficulty, because the money will come if the right deal's there. So you
Yeah.
could have all the money. Let's just say you got 100 grand ready to go, but if you can't find a good deal, what's the 100 grand going to do for you? Or you could have no money ready to go, but then you find a good deal and then you partner up with someone like you mentioned. So
Yeah.
I agree. I think another thing I was going to say is, I think that was the coolest part about Eddie too, is you came along with with Eddie as well, because you're the one that found that. You're the one that's amped up. You're the one that also communicated.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like again, it's a team.
You know what's
It's a
crazy
team.
is this. The
Yeah,
reason why I
sure.
thought that was a good property was because of all the properties that I had conversation with Eddie about.
Yeah.
And then he would tell me like, no, this is not a good property, and here's the reason why.
Yeah.
And then this one's a good deal, even though that property we didn't get it, because you can't get every deal,
Yeah.
right? But all the deals that he's told me, this is the reason why this is a good deal. This, that, you could do this, you could do that. And I'm like, dude, that's so true. And over the last 2 years, now that when I look at a deal, all those things that Eddie told me kind of runs through my head as I'm looking at a
Yeah.
property. And I didn't have to learn all that stuff on my own. Like it's not that I don't have time, but what's the point of me trying to learn it on my own when I
Sure.
literally have a guy that will just guide me through the whole thing. So when I looked at that property, like I could just hear Eddie's voice running through my head. And then I was like, this is probably a good deal. So I just sent it to you because obviously I already knew you guys were looking for a property for you.
Yeah.
And I didn't know you were going to end up getting it, but
Honestly, I didn't know I was going to end up getting it either. Honestly, I didn't even know I was going to end up bidding on it.
Yeah.
It all started in my mind as, I'm going to see what happens. You know what I mean? It doesn't cost me any money to see what happens. Yeah, I'll put a bid on it. Okay, yeah, I'll sign the document. Okay, yeah, I'll put a $2,000 deposit. Okay, I mean, it just went on and on and on and on. And then here we are. Okay, house is yours. Loan's fully funded.
we got to go pick
I'm
up
like,
the
oh,
keys.
damn. And the other agent that was assisting, she goes, are you excited? I'm like, oh man, I just know the work that's ahead. I got to convert
This
this.
is just the beginning.
Yeah, I got to do the construction on it, and then I got to rent it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of work for the next 3 weeks so that I can rent this thing out. So
Yeah, I'm excited for you, man, because the way Eddie and I kind of like look at it is the more we get of our friends to invest in real estate, in the next 5 years, we can do bigger deals together.
100%.
We're talking about like 10, 20, 30 million dollar deals.
The more real estate you own, the easier it is to buy more houses.
Yeah.
Because then you got equity, you got line of credits, you got refinancing, you pull out equity. And it just helps you even more
Yeah.
to buy more properties.
Yep.
Plus you got the cash flow.
Yep.
Which helps with, if you buy another property, that cash flow helps with the income.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, so we're just excited because if all of our homies can buy some real estate,
Yeah, bro.
dude, just think about 5 years from now. We
So
can all
yeah.
put our money together to buy big apartment buildings.
Because it first started
And then
with
we're
him.
talking about like
Because
big
it started
deals.
with you and Raul first,
Yeah.
and then I got into it, and then we finally got Joe into it, and then now you. So that's already 5, and then
Yep.
sooner or later it's going to be 20, 30, 40 of us.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to be doing crazy deals at that point. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why we're trying to inspire our homies. And also on top of that, like you mentioned earlier, who are you surrounded by?
Yeah.
They're going to affect you. So I want to be around success-minded people, I don't want to be around someone that doesn't want to get anything out of life. So the best thing to do is influence your friends that you're already hanging out with. Hey, let's do deals together. Let's become
Exactly.
successful together.
Yep.
Because why not?
There's got to be a fun factor. For me, it's like, it's a game, Monopoly. Let's see if we can buy this property. Let's
Yeah.
see if we can do this. Let's add to this. You know what I mean? The money is only the way to keep score. That's all it's there for. You know what I mean? You could think you're a sick businessman. You could think you're a great investor. But if your bank account doesn't show that cash flow, really, how good are you? And that's what I love about this. And the businesses and everything else that comes along with that is I'm ultra competitive too. And I think you have to have that edge. And I've seen that in both of you guys too. You're competitive. You want to win. Whether you're competing against yourself or others, you still want to win. You don't want to lose,
I think there's no better feeling. I mean, why go through life as a man and not win?
100%.
Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's not for the sake of being better than someone, but it's for the sake that deep down inside, because you got to look at yourself in the mirror every single day.
Yep.
Right? That's the ultimate right there. And the last thing I want is to look myself in the mirror and tell myself, like, you're not pouring it on. You're not trying hard enough. Like, what kind of, like, I'm cool. I'm not trying to have that conversation.
Sure.
Regardless of what other people think, I don't really care. I only care about one conversation. It's the one I have with myself on the mirror. And it feels good to know that you're dominating. That you're doing everything you can.
Yeah. If you're not winning, you're a loser.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's like,
It's either winning or
Bring it, Bobby.
losing. Yeah. Straight up, hey, that's
If you
real.
ain't first, you're last.
Yeah, straight up.
all right, Jonathan. So before we end off, I think this is an important question to ask. What have you learned being a father? Because you've been, you have 2 kids, and I think your oldest is how old again?
My oldest will be 15.
15. So you've been a dad for
in
15
November.
years. I got a 7-year-old. He just turned 7.
Yeah.
But I want to know, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned being a father?
Dude, the teenage years are hard.
You were hard when you were a teenager.
I was
right?
definitely hard when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, there's a lot of things I've done in life, and I'm proud of a lot of things. And you can question me on a lot of things, but being a dad is one thing I will not be questioned on, because for me, I've always put the kids first. I think that's honestly a big reason why I've decided to become an entrepreneur, because I wanted to have the time to always show up if I needed to, or wanted to, or if they wanted me to. And for me, I think entrepreneurship, investments, that buys you time. And for me, what I've learned as far as being a dad, is it's a balance of love and discipline. Just as much discipline as you give is as much love as you got to give. And that conversation piece, I mean, I think about it like when I was a kid, I didn't want to talk to my mom. You know what I mean? I didn't want to say anything, really. I was just like, oh, no, you wouldn't understand, or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen again. And I think real love is not about, oh, you hurt my feelings. Just real love and real, like, agape love, man love, is being able to take a hit and still loving your kids. Or, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You go through these stages, and every stage I say I love the most. But with the kids, I just feel like it's just being there, loving them, mm-hmm. spending time with them, meeting them where they're at, not expecting them to come where I'm at. Like, whatever games they like, whatever they want to do, whatever's their favorite, that's how I use that, or the role that I have in their life. Mm-hmm. But I love it, man. I wouldn't get up for anything.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. I
have
a little 4-year-old, so like I have to play like Barbies with them. It's like, they got their own house. It's like, well, this is what they like.
And every stage is going to get better and better and better. You're going to be like, oh, wow, they did this. Or, oh, wow. Every milestone you're going to celebrate. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing is people wait to like live life to build. You can't get caught up in that. Mm-hmm. You cannot get caught up in the build. You're there, my boy. You're with your kids.
Yeah.
That's the best time, And you only have them, realistically, 18 years. You have 18 years to cultivate a culture that is amazing for them. And for me, that's kind of one of my biggest things, is raising them right. And not just like discipline, but love. I can't stress that enough, Mm-hmm. And it is hard because I co-parent, and we have different visions on how kids should be raised. And I think that the biggest thing is just to have a heavy emphasis on what you believe and raising them in that point, and then whatever else the other party, the other parent, however they decide to parent, they're going to see two different models, and then they're going to come to a decision of how they want to live their life. So
that's solid advice, man.
Yeah.
That is solid advice. I got chills just listening to you on that one. Because it hits home for me, because I have two kids, I have a 1-year-old and I'm about to turn 4, so it's like the fact that you mentioned, like, yes, discipline, because like kids need discipline, right? But love just as much.
Yep.
Like that hit home for me, so that's a solid advice, bro.
From the heart, so.
Yeah, straight up.
All right, well, thank you, Jonathan, for joining us on this podcast. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like, subscribe, follow the channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Solid.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Good shit, big dog.
That was good.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go smoke a cigar.
Let's smoke a cigar.